of Roses. This is Pacecase.
This is Bachelor Clues, and we are in week 2 of Jenn Tran's historic Bachelorette season 21. A lot has been going on this week. We're going to cover a bunch of news, a bunch of parasocial plays, the ratings this week, which were a bit surprising. We'll get to what that means very shortly. But before we begin any of this, we do have a little bit of business. It is 2020 Gore. Right now, we have Jenn Tran commemorative t-shirts at gameofroses.co. They feature a lovely design on the chest by Ella Tolkien, who has done a lot of our stuff. It's Jenn Tran riding the claw machine, and on the back of these shirts, you get the full roster of all the incoming rookies, kind of like a concert t-shirt, something like this.
It's beautiful. I'm so excited to get mine.
Yeah, mine's in the mail as well. We also are doing watch parties at 33 Taps in Silverlake out here in Los Angeles every Monday night over the course of Jenn Tran's season 21. So join us out there from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., potentially 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. if they decide to throw a 3-hour episode at us, which they may do toward the end of the season, I have a feeling.
This is, to be clear, I have made my annual mini move to Young Country. I am in Minneapolis. Won't be able to join the regular season watch parties, but
I'll be there.
Clues will be there. The pit will be there.
Yeah, they've been really fun so far.
I recommend the Make Me Stay margarita.
Yeah, we have signature cocktails, et cetera, et cetera. And we're going to have a new Digging Deeper out for you this Monday. There have been a lot of crazy clips going around in the Bachelor and Bachelor adjacent podcast world. We're going to cover all the best ones, break them down for you on Monday's Digging Deeper. We hope you'll join us for it. Now, Pacecase, are you ready to dive into this? And
let's go.
I'll take that as a yes.
No? Are you ready?
Oh, yes, I'm very ready because we have a very interesting Game of Roses. State of the game. Okay, how do we even begin this? Let me simply say this. We are living through Bookgate. We have seen Champagne Gate. We have seen Shrimp Gate. We have seen many gates in our beloved game.
Watergate.
Was Watergate part of Bachelor Nation? I didn't realize.
No, I mean, that's a gate that's famous.
That's the one that the gate came
gates
from. That's the one that spawned all the gates. That's why you call things blank gate now. Well, right now we're going through Bookgate. In the most recent episode of Bachelorette Season 21, there was a small scene. You might have missed it if you weren't paying attention. Old Aaron Erb gave Devin Strader a book as a gift that was meant to be kind of a little bit of a neg, basically saying you need some help along your journey of self-growth. The book was called Principles for Self-Growth by Dr. Brandon O'Connor, or so the book jacket says. And there was a picture of it. You can see this picture. But this play was an homage to a play that happened in Bachelorette Season 16 when old Aaron Erb's 7-second younger twin brother, young Noah Erb, went head-to-head with one of that season's villains, Bennett Andrew Jordan, who sat him down and had a box full of items for him. He gave him a bandana, he gave him some socks, and he gave him a book as well. And that book was called Harvard Business Review's 10 Must-Reads on Emotional Intelligence with featured article, What Makes a Leader by Daniel Goleman. That book is real. It is written by Daniel Goleman, Richard E. Boyatzis, Annie McKee, and Sidney Finkelstein. They're all credited, and you can find this book.
Came out in 2015.
Came out in 2015. You can find this book on Amazon. It's all over the internet. That book is real.
4.6 out of 5 stars ratings.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Well, it is a must-read after all. Now, this other book, though, the homage book, The Principles for Self-Growth by Dr. Brandon O'Connor, we have come to understand this book may not be real. A simple Google search for this book and this author turns up literally nothing. There is no place to buy this book. We don't know who this person is, this supposed Dr. Brandon O'Connor. And further scrutiny of the book jacket itself reveals that on the spine, principles is misspelled. It says principles. There's no in this word. And you can also see that the underneath the book jacket, which is yellow, the book itself does not have a matching color or even a neutral color. It is an opposing red, if I'm reading my colors right.
It is red clues. You nailed it. The spine also looks like it was just folded. Mm-hmm. I mean, clues. We had a book gate before. Kind of. Bachelor gate. But you and I, and you have written many books. Mm-hmm. How likely is it that there is going to be a typo in the title on the spine?
This is... I mean, we're in a very weird moment, and I'll say this. How likely is it to have that typo, you're asking? If this is a self-published book that can be purchased nowhere, I mean, it's likely, I think. I would assume
very likely. Okay.
That's possible if you're just self-publishing a book, because you, potentially as the author, are solely responsible for uploading all these files, for making them yourself. I could see how that's possible. If this was a book that's published through an actual publisher, that will literally never happen. It goes through so many rounds of proofreads and so many people are looking at it. There's no way that would happen. Maybe you'd get a misspelling somewhere in the text of the book, but not on the cover.
In the text, not on the cover. So that is like the most scrutinized part of the book. So what does this mean? What does this mean that this is a fake book, Clues?
I'm not prepared to say 100% it's a fake book, but it is looking very much like that is the case. I've been doing a little bit of research online about this. There are some other people starting to talk about this a little bit. It hasn't reached critical mass in the Bachelor world yet, but this is what I think it means. Let's assume this is a fake book. To me, I'm like over 90% sure that it is. Again, it could be some weird self-published thing that old Aaron Erb knows this guy, and he was just like, here's my book. I don't know. But if it's
his friend, I mean, Noah was a traveling nurse, so he might know a Dr. O'Connor.
It's true. Possible. It is totally possible that this is a self-published book. It is not a published book by anyone that has a book on Amazon. I mean, this book is not on Amazon. That alone tells you something is a little off here. So if it is a completely fake book, this is exactly what that means. We are in the Attitude Era of Bachelor. The producers are writing full scripts and scenes for the players, in this case, old Aaron Erb, and they are manufacturing props for them to take in that are completely fake. So, if this is a fake book, which I believe it is, the scenario, I think, had to play out something like this. Either old Aaron Erb goes to the producers and says, hey, my brother Noah told me about this thing Bennett did to him. I want to do it to Devin. I need a book. And they're like, shit, let us make you one. And so they have some PA create this book. Or it could have been producers who came to him and said, dude, this would be hilarious. This happened to your brother. It's like a legacy play, a nod to the super fans. You come in with this book.
Those seem equally likely to me.
Yeah.
And judging by something that we'll get to in the Parasocial plays, young Noah Erb was ready for this moment in the show.
Yeah.
I don't want to give any spoilers, but he made a Bookgate related play this week. So I would say it's like 50-50, whether it is old Aaron Erb or the producers.
Either way,
on this idea.
We're now in an era where they are openly creating props and fake storylines and essentially writing these scenes, in as much as they do in pro wrestling when they're like cutting promos. I'm not saying they gave him a word-for-word script, but they definitely told him, go in there, figure out some way to...
Well, we know they sometimes give word-for-word scripts.
Yeah, if they have like catchphrases and stuff, sometimes they'll give you a word-for-word script. But the bigger question, I guess, is this. Old Aaron Erb pulled this off. He went in, did the producer's bidding, used the prop, gave them this scene. What was he being offered in return? And I think what we're starting to see, especially in some of the promos where he's going to issue just a generalized for the wrong reasons attack on everybody and be like, you got to figure it out. I think that very early on, maybe even because young Noah Erb knows many of these producers on the show, old Aaron Erb was like, look, I'm buddies with this producer. He goes in and he tells the producer, if Jenn Tran is not into me, let me know and let me be your worker. Let me go in and just do whatever you want and put me on Paradise.
You're saying that he would be basically serving the same. Who was the person who was paired with Aaron Clancy?
James Bonsall?
Genevieve. Oh. Genevieve Parisi. In my mind, she is like the main like person that I think of when you're thinking of like, I'll just do whatever the third audience wants. This seems unlikely to me because he got the alpha limo exit. That's not
Who did?
that's not something that you give to people that you think are not going to go well. Aaron Erb.
No, he didn't.
Didn't he?
No. The alpha limo exit.
Well, he was definitely in the first 5. He's definitely been highlighted, and I would say if there's anyone there who is fulfilling that role of workhorse, it would be Jeremy. To me, he strikes me more as a person who has,
but
maybe not so much of a first audience connection.
I guess. Old Aaron Erb was 17th limo exit.
Wait, what? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Why do I remember him? Weird.
I'm not sure.
First
Our alpha
mind,
was
I
Marcus
guess.
Schoberg, who got also the first one-on-one. But I think
makes
that
sense.
they are. I'll simply say this: we know that producers will offer players paradise in exchange for certain things, carrying out their bidding. That's not always true, though. They will say, "We'll send you to paradise if you do this," and then you do the thing, and then you never hear from them again. That happens all the time.
The day
too.
of your flight, ghosted.
Yeah, exactly. That said, I think old Aaron Erb is setting himself up to be a big player in this upcoming season 10 of Paradise next year by doing all these things. But what is more important to me about this, personally, is that they are now, either they're so sloppy in how they're doing this because of the misspellings, but it's also just sloppiness in, like, you're creating a fake book. Even if it had been spelled properly, this is Bachelor Nation. The fourth audience is going to scrutinize everything on screen, especially the object that is being given as a kind of like negging gift to somebody to start this rivalry. We're going to Google it at the very least, and then we don't find it and we find out it's fake. So now that entire
But maybe
narrative,
they want Bookgate.
What's that?
Maybe
You
they
think they
want
want it?
Bookgate.
I don't
I
think
don't
they
know.
want
Maybe
Bookgate.
it's like I feel like we've seen a lot of props that people have that they say they brought in but were obviously given by producers. I would argue that it might not have been Paradise traded. It might have just been like, you'll get screen time.
It could
We'll
have been
play
that
up your
too.
rivalry.
Sure. It could have been that too. I just think old Aaron Erb understands he's not going to win the ring. And I don't even think he's going to go to playoffs, honestly. And I think he's just like, yeah, I
He
can't
is
imagine
playing
him-
worse than I thought he would.
But I don't think he's playing bad. I think he's just playing a pure third audience game. I think he's like, the producers control this whole thing. There's no way my first audience game is irrelevant. Second audience game, who cares? Let me build up some rivalries, do what the producers ask of me, and then maybe I'll get that Paradise berth or ascend to some kind of status within Bachelor Nation. But the bigger thing is like that the producers are doing this. This is an element of Sally's Suitcase type fictionalization that they're now bringing into the main game. And they've done things like this in the past, but never this overt. And it's never been really at the expense of another player in the way that it is of Devin Strader. Usually when they're manufacturing things, it's like, cutting together the Annalise Puccini Fear of Bumper Cars montage. You know what I mean? It's things that are kind of like goofy. They are manufacturing wholesale an entire scene. They built this prop specifically so that he could go in and do a written scene. He is acting now. These are not reality performers anymore.
I'm not convinced it's like a scripted scene, though. But I do think Paradise probably is his goal, as his brother, didn't do as well in his first season and then found his actual wife on sand.
Right.
And I don't know. The way he is getting into these rivalries and getting roped in, don't poke the bear's getting poked, the bear is acting like a bear. It's shocking to me, but I still feel like he's got that legacy that he will still go far.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong.
We'll see. But I think we're in an era of Bachelor where things like this, the more things like this that happen, the closer you get to having to have that WWE moment where, back in the beginning of the Attitude Era, then president of WWE or then WWF, Vince McMahon came on TV and said, this is fake and we're going to blow it out of the water now. Get ready for the most entertaining era of this product you've ever seen. We are getting closer and closer to that with Bachelor, with stuff like this. You can't watch this show and see this fake book and think this is real. You can't. It is not real. This
I
is
think
all
you can.
made up.
Read any of the comment sections.
No, I know some people still
Everyone
think
thinks
it's real.
Like
Not
the amount of
everybody.
people that are going to Google this book clues, let's be real.
I'm not saying that everybody's going to Google it, but I'm saying some people are, and this is online now. And it's a moment that you can point back to be like, the producers completely manufactured the scene. Aaron Erb doesn't care about Devin Strader. Devin Strader probably doesn't care about Aaron Erb. That fight is fake. It is pro wrestling. And I think a lot of people have to start seeing that.
I'm not fully convinced, and I think Bachelor Nation is not convinced. I think you very much overestimate what percentage are going to see through these things of the viewing audience. People are, they're not fully paying attention sometimes. They're having their rosé. They're doing whatever.
Sure.
They're not, there's just, it's the fringe.
But we're going to
Respectfully, it's the fringe who are Googling this and who will even be aware
I'm
of this
the
at
fringe.
all. You are the fringe. I'm sorry. You're not short. Of course you're the fringe.
I'll take that as a high-level compliment. Thank you very much. I'm simply saying this.
You're respectfully fringe.
Oh, thank you.
In the amount you know.
Well, I think you probably are too in that case. But I would say this about it. We are, like when the WWE went into its Attitude Era, you had characters that were like The Undertaker was a zombie. Like you had, things that are obviously not real. I'm not sure if we ever get to like that level in Bachelor.
We had a zombie.
What?
We had a little mummy on night one. The mummy who showed his butt.
No, but that was just a guy dressed up as a mummy. That guy didn't come in and pretend to be undead. I'm saying, like, we might get to that point in Bachelor where it's like, oh, ghosts are real now. I mean, we did kind of have that in
What about the lady that
21.
pretended to be a vampire?
She was just wearing vampire teeth. She didn't come in and say, like,
but she
the
said
sun
she
will
was
kill
a
me.
vampire.
Yeah, but she wasn't really
character.
playing the role of a vampire. She wasn't eating human beings and hiding from the sun and turning into a bat.
Okay, that is true, to our knowledge, not in the document.
Not to our knowledge. At any rate, I think this book is kind of it's an important moment if you're deep in the lore of Bachelor, because it really is a moment that either the producers were so sloppy it broke kayfabe, or they're kind of intentionally pushing it toward a breaking of kayfabe. I don't know which is true, and I don't know when that's going to happen, but
I don't think it's intentional. I think the spelling error is by accident. I think they made this trying to make it look real.
Why not just get a real book? You know what I mean?
Why
not send a PA
you're making
to a bookstore?
It like last minute? I don't know. I don't know why you wouldn't get a real book.
It makes no sense to me. Or even just take like a book that you have around and print off the image of a real book and put that on the book jacket. To make a fake book.
Maybe they need to get like permission. There's like clearance stuff. Maybe they were like, this will be faster than going through clearance for a real book.
You can get that clearance later. This was shot 2 months ago. You have all that time to get the clearance. I just simply don't know why they made a fake book, other than it was sloppy or purposeful in the direction of some people are going to see this and kind of like be let in on the joke here that this is all fake, that none of this show is real. All of these guys are acting.
I love your optimism that is the explanation. I do think it is important, and we will discuss young Noah Erb's response to this. I am hoping we get to hear from Bennett Andrew Jordan parasocially. I hope he reprises his role in the nation for this.
Unfortunately, I still follow him quite a bit on his Instagram. I think he is happy in his relationship and has washed his hands of Bachelor Nation, potentially rightfully so after what they did to him with revoking his Paradise invite because he made SpawnCon. So I wish Bennett Andrew Jordan well.
I forgot about that. A shoe advertisement, right?
Yeah. He did a shoe advertisement, and they revoked his invitation to what would have been Paradise
horrible.
Season 8, I believe.
And he would have been so good. But I am so happy he found his yoga paramour, and they have a child now.
As am I.
But maybe we will see a parasocial play if Bookgate blows up enough.
I mean, I just think that this deserves more attention.
He could put the little baby with, like, the book and be like, this is a real book,
Sure. The baby is giving the book to some other baby.
Anything posed with a baby to me is always funny.
Sure.
Like when people put babies in flower pots and dress them as flowers, I think it's so funny.
And Getty's popularized that style. Well, let's now move on. That was State of the Game. We're going to move on now to talk about all of the numbers moving up and down in the ratings and in the parasocial world in
This Week in
Games. All right. So last week, we know Jenn Tran destroyed all expectations in the ratings with a 0.45, which was up about 28% from Charity Lawson's Bachelorette Season 20 premiere, just really defying any kind of projections. And she dominated Monday night on her premiere. Did those ratings hold up? Let's take a look. This week, on July 15th, her second episode, which was jam-packed, she scored a 0.37. That is down 17% from week one, and her overall raw viewership went from 2.8 million to 2.37 million, about a 15% drop.
Is that a normal percentage drop from a premiere?
You know, it's hard to say because we saw like Grazia Day went up his second week. His season started packing on numbers. It's difficult to say. I will say it's not uncommon for something like this to happen. I don't think it's like cause for alarm by any means, because especially that 0.37 that she got in the 18 to 49-year-old demo was enough to absolutely dominate the rest of network television over the course of the night, with CBS scoring a 0.21 with a rerun of The Neighborhood. Fox had Name That Tune, scored a 0.22. The closest was NBC with American Ninja Warrior with a 0.32. And of course, we got CW, as always, bringing up the rear with a 0.08 and 400,000 followers with All American. The All American finale, by the way, scored that. Yikes.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
At least she's winning the night. You know, that's pretty much what you care about at this point.
That's all you can ask for. It really, at this point, the ratings game is comparative. Like, these numbers are, by any standard, abysmal.
Abysmal. Toilet City.
Yeah. This is the end of network TV we're living through. And The Bachelorette is still on top of the heap. As the ship is sinking, The Bachelorette is up on the very tip of the whatever piece of the ship is above the water.
The smokestack?
Well, it depends on how the ship's going. If it was like Titanic, you would be on the stern of the ship or the prow. I don't know which one it is.
Yeah, the very part where one would Titanic off the edge.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm curious to see what happens to her ratings throughout the season. The 17% dip in the demo is like, I don't think it's that big of a deal, honestly. I think she's going to correct. I don't think so either.
It is shocking to me because I was obsessed with that episode. I thought it was even better than the premiere. And so maybe word of mouth will do what it did on the Gazeman Joey Grazia Days season, and we can get these ratings back up.
Perhaps. Maybe they should throw in some more Attitude Era stuff. I want to see people coming in with like
I love this.
Getting hypnotized and going into comas, having amnesia. I think these are all good things that they should play with narratively.
Amnesia.
Yeah.
Ooh, someone who doesn't know who they are, but I'm hoping you can help me find the true me.
Maybe in the forced violence group date when they have to play rugby or football or whatever, they have to box each other. Somebody takes a hard hit to the head, wakes up in the hospital, doesn't know who they are.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah. The villain becomes the baby face.
And then we get rid of football.
What? Get rid of football?
From the outcry.
Anyway,
what are those crown gains? Jenn Tran. Someone asked me yesterday what things, just talking about how Me Too had like made them think about things from college differently and stuff.
Sure.
And they were like, what things today are we going to like see differently? And I just always think of football as like,
unfortunately,
will be seen as like gladiatorial.
Everything that, operates on planet Earth is controlled by money, and the NFL makes way too much money to ever go away. That's all there is to it.
Time will tell who is right. My dark prediction.
Yeah. Maybe in 1,000 years or something. Not in our lifetime.
Let's talk about those 1,000 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Opto 2024. Humanity will be here in 1,000 years. Crown gains. We got on Instagram. Jenn Tran gained 16,000 new followers, bringing her to 242K. On TikTok, she added on 4.4K pairs of eyeballs, bringing her to 121.6K total.
Interesting numbers here. If we project that out, if she's just packing on 16K a week, for the next, whatever, 8 weeks, that ain't going to get her to 1 million.
No.
These numbers have to go up. But it is the
not.
doldrums. The regular season is not where we see the most growth.
The doldrums.
It's the playoffs. Once we get to hometowns, once we get to fantasy suites, that's where the growth starts to become explosive. And around the finale is where you usually see your biggest number. So I still have high hopes for her to hit 1 million. I think she can do it.
Now for the top 5 Instagram gains this week. 5th place, Austin Ott gained 1.9K on Instagram.
In 4th place, we have Devin Strader, the ice cream connoisseur, the cart pusher, gaining 1,759 new followers on Instagram.
We had Sam N gaining 2K this week in 3rd place.
And our plus size player, who was a night 1 guy, Brett Harris, is in 2nd place with a gain of 3,422 followers. I love to see that. I hope it continues throughout the season. I don't know.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
I mean, he is guaranteed paradise already, I think.
Absolutely.
But I do love to see this. I think it might be in part because of a play that we will get to.
Okay.
And coming in first, smooth talking, feral kiss player and FIMP recipient Sam M gained 7.8K on Instagram.
That seems like the internet knows something that we don't know, in my opinion.
What?
He's more than
You think
double
that's a
Brett
spoiler
Harris, who was a
number?
night 1 guy. Yeah.
Well, I almost gave him MVP because, well, he was one of the 3 or 4 I was considering because even though he didn't have a one-on-one date or any special moment, he was still, it felt like he was still in every scene and he was sort of policing. He was the time cop for who goes in what order.
There was
it seemed like he was kind of the leader of the guys.
Yes, we didn't really discuss this in our recap, but there was a moment where all the guys are getting pissed at Devin, and somebody, I think it was maybe Jeremy, was going to go talk to him, and Sam M stepped in and was like, "Hey man, chill out. Thomas
Spencer's
N has
next.
this." No, Thomas
No, he said
N.
Spencer's next at some point.
Oh,
He might have been time copying multiple times, but
yeah.
he did facilitate that steal as well. So he's doing some very interesting things this season.
Yeah, he's kind of.
There's also
controlling
some random news that is coming out about him.
I don't know about that yet.
I don't know.
I'll wait until it gets to a fevered pitch.
Yeah, these are only
I'll dive in.
Allegations at this point.
Well, let's move on to our top 5 TikTok gains, which are, it's hard to read these, to be honest with you. We have Sam in 5th place with a gain of 100 TikTok followers.
Oh my God.
Absolutely brutal.
It's not even worth saying these numbers. Dylan is in 4th place with an addition of 110 TikTok followers.
Jahan Ansari is in 3rd with plus 152.
Spencer's in 2nd place with plus 300 TikTok followers.
And that old Aaron Erb is in 1st place with a massive gain of 636 new pairs of eyeballs. This is, God, it's just bleak. The Bachelor and TikTok don't mix. They just don't. You have some, obviously, standouts from the history of the show, Madison Pruitt kind of being top of the list. But this is just, it's hard to look at.
I think there's potential. I think there's potential, but nobody is stepping up to the plate right now.
Yeah.
Now for that top 5 Instagram chart. In 5th place, we have Spencer Conley with 9,827 followers.
Old Aaron Erb is in 4th place with 10.9K.
Austin Ott is in 3rd with 13.1K.
Brett Harris is in 2nd with 13.3K. I love to see this.
Dang.
It's wild to me.
And in 1st place, probably for a long time, if not forever, Sam Najad with 186,000 Instagram followers. No, I think the hometown people will beat him.
I do too.
Time will tell.
186K. I don't think he's going to put on many more. I agree. I think we're going to see the rise of one or two players in the end who can break 200K probably. And the top 5 TikTok chart overall is as follows. 5th place, Old Aaron Herb made the list with 898 TikTok followers. It's hard
Spencer
to even
Conley's?
form the words at this point.
To form the words, what,
Yeah.
sub 1,000?
Yeah, sub 900. This man's at 0.9K.
Speaking of 0.9K, Spencer Conley's in 4th with 948 followers.
Absolutely brutal. Crossing that
Depends how
1K
you
mark
round.
is KISS player chemistry master Sam McKinney has 1.5K TikTok followers.
The man who stepped in front of Hakeem to do that little overcoming your fear snake play, Dylan Bucker's in 2nd with 2,640 TikTok followers.
And just like that Instagram chart, at the top of this mountain is the eyelash master Sam Najad, 280.9K. I don't think anybody's going to come close to that out of these dudes.
It's not looking good. It's not looking good for that. It's possible.
I agree.
It's certainly possible if we see these players start stepping it up in the TikTok game, which I think we need to do. Gen Z's on TikTok. If you want the show to keep going, we need some TikTok stars.
I agree. And I will also say this. Although the official Bachelor Nation Instagram account is like on fire, I think whoever is running that now and whatever creative liberties they're allowing that person or those people, keep doing it. They are doing fantastic work there right now. The best that I've ever seen in the history of the show. Get some TikTok going too. That's all I'll say. Let's see that Bachelor Nation TikTok, that official Bachelor Nation TikTok blown up. All right, let's move on to our next portion where we discuss all the tids that are fit to print.
This is Bachelor Nation News.
First up in Bachelor Nation news, the nominations for the 76th Emmy Awards, which is planned to take place on September 15th, have been revealed, and our beloved game made the list, as did many of our other beloved games. The Golden Bachelor received the Bachelor franchise's first ever nomination for Outstanding Casting for a Reality Program. The Traitors was also nominated in the Outstanding Reality TV Competition category, and Dark Lord Alan Cumming himself was nominated in the Host for a Reality TV Competition category. The NRU picked up a nomination for Love is Blind in the Outstanding Structured Reality category and Outstanding Reality Casting for Love on the Spectrum and Squid Game Challenge. Congrats to all the nominees this year. This is exciting. There's starting to be some real head-to-head. I may tune into the
board,
Emmys.
baby.
Can you believe that?
That you may watch it?
I might. If I get to see Alan Cumming walk up onto the stage.
I might also.
I mean, can you imagine what he's going to be wearing to the Emmys?
Gary, the Golden God? I hope he wears a completely golden suit.
Alan Cumming.
Oh. I hope he is dressed as a full peacock, kind of in the York style when she wore that swan.
Sure. Is it on NBC? I don't know what network has it this year. If it's NBC, maybe he will dress as a peacock.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Oh my God. And it would advertise peacock. I didn't even think about that. Wait, but Golden Gary's attire, can we talk about this?
Sure.
He should wear a gold suit, right?
I think he should wear a more tasteful, dark colored suit, a blue, a gray, and I think he should go with some kind of gold accoutrement, a gold
sunglasses,
tie pin or whatever.
Gold aviators.
Maybe, yeah, something like that. We'll see. But congrats to all the nominees. You know, these are a lot of these shows we absolutely love, and it's fun to see them getting nominated for some awards, and they're going to be rubbing elbows with like the big scripted stars and, you know, in quotes, real TV. I can't wait to see how all of our favorite shows do.
Me too. Up next in Bachelor Nation news, Rachel Lindsay was ordered to pay her Bachelorette Season 13 ring winner, Brian Abasolo, more than $13,000 per month in spousal support in the next development of their divorce proceedings. Court documents were revealed on Monday of this week that state Lindsay will have to make the payments to Abasolo until further notice. Abasolo was seeking a $16,000 per month payout rather than the $9,000 a month she offered him.
The formal language in the judgment reads, quote, respondent is ordered to pay to the petitioner temporary spousal support in the sum of $13,257 per month, payable 1/2 on the 1st and 1/2 on the 15th of each month, commencing July 15th, 2024, and continuing in a like manner until further order of the court. So this is essentially forever.
What does that mean?
I mean, it's literally...
Like they're going to remember? Like, okay, now you pay me now.
Yeah. The judge is just like waking up with cold sweats in the middle of the night. When should I stop that payment from Rachel Lindsay to Brian Abasolo?
Wakes up if he sees his shadow. He's like, not today.
Yeah. Abasolo's taking the judge out for steak dinners every Saturday. Come on, judge. I'll give you another steak dinner.
Hey, it happens in the Supreme Court, so.
I know, exactly.
Why
in addition
not
to these
here?
Monthly payments, Lindsay was ordered to pay $15,000 for Abasolo's legal fees and $5,000 for, in quotes, other expenses. The former couple's next scheduled... Yeah, the air fryer. The former couple's next scheduled court date is September 23rd in Los Angeles, and we'll see if there are any amendments to this decision. But we wish them both well as they continue to get through what has to be an incredibly difficult time for both of them. More difficult for Lindsay, obviously, as she is now hemorrhaging $13,000 a month.
Yeah. Up next in Bachelor Nation news, the one true GOAT, Kaitlyn Bristowe, and the controversial season 23 Bachelor Colton Underwood are working on a new project together. Although details have not been officially released, a flurry of social media this week located the duo together in Costa Rica, and most experts agree they are there to render co-hosting duties for Hulu's new reality series, Virgin Island.
The show was announced back in May, and according to Hulu, Virgin Island will host a bunch of hot virgins at an island resort where they will look for the one. Throughout the 10-episode series, the contestants will go on dates and participate in romantic activities as they prepare to renounce their V cards. The show is being produced by ITV America. These are the producers behind Love Island USA and Queer Eye. So they know what they're doing. This hosting, I mean, it's an interesting pairing, I'll simply say. Obviously,
that is what I'm referencing. Why?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure why Colton Underwood. I get Kaitlyn Bristowe.
Yes.
And if they wanted to, like, Bachelor
She's already
people,
hosted a show.
Yeah, she's already hosted a show.
Ultimate Girl Gang with Tayshia Adams.
She's got all of these connections. She's got her big podcast. Colton has done some other stuff, obviously. He had a show on Netflix coming out.
He somehow keeps getting shows.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
I don't quite understand it either, honestly. And it seems that, at least for Hulu, the checkered past of Colton Underwood, all of the criminal things he's done, are meaningless. That's water under the bridge at this point.
Yeah, the criminal stalking, putting the tracker on his ring winner's car, etc. I mean, I guess they were like, I don't know, it's just about money, and the first show must have done well. But I don't get it.
Well, the first show didn't do well enough.
You read his biography, right?
Yeah.
He wasn't actually a virgin, right? Like, he had sex with men.
He mentioned having like some experimentations with guys in college. I don't know what that means technically, or what he considers virginity to be, or I don't know. But that's the only reason I can think they would include him in this, is because his kind of identity within The Bachelor was being a virgin bachelor. But he's not now. Canetti. What's that?
You have Ashley Iaconetti.
Yeah.
Another famous virgin from the series.
Who has a giant podcast and I think would be hilarious.
Would be a great host
on this show. So, I mean, it's hard to say why Hulu wanted Colton Underwood to be this person. I don't really get it myself. And then it also comes down to a matter of, in Kaitlyn Bristowe's case, she either was the first one to sign on and then they brought in Colton Underwood, or vice versa. I don't know. In either case, I would assume she would have some contractual say in whether or not she wanted to work with that person, unless she was coming in second. If they secured Colton first and they were like, here's the job, do you want it or not? She's kind of like, her hands are tied. And not
tell her the co-host.
No, she would definitely have to know who the co-host was.
Like, she has to know the co-host to sign up, period.
And same with him.
I'm pretty sure she's going to get some blowback from this.
Really? I don't know. I don't think anybody is following the Colton Underwood story.
At least the Nation. At least Bachelor Nation.
Yeah, but like, does that matter? How many people are going to tune into the show from
Probably
Bachelor
not.
Nation because they're hosting it? I don't think a lot. We've seen other...
Maybe I would have if it was Bristow and Ashley I.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably watch the show. I'll probably do it in Clue's Corner. But we've seen other, huge Bachelor people hosting other shows that like don't do that well simply because they're from Bachelor. I would put Tyler Cameron up there. His shows are like, there was the Dirty Dancing one on Fox. There's this home renovation one that he's doing on Amazon now.
There was the Doghouse one.
On Quibi. Yeah, well, Quibi was a whole different thing. Nobody was watching that regardless of who you had. Kevin Hart doing a show on that. Nobody watched it. I think that this is something different. They're just rolling the dice on this format. And I think it is just a kind of turn a blind eye to Colton's past, honestly. I think that's why this is happening. But I also don't think he's like a big draw as a reality TV show host. I don't quite get the decision, I guess. But
I don't get it either. Yep.
We'll see. We'll see how the show does. Up next, in Bachelor Nation news. I hope you're ready for a healthy dose of Funkensluss. After eloping in Italy, where they exchanged vows in a Tuscan castle on June 26th, and honeymooning in Switzerland, the greatest Night 1 player of all time, Hannah Ann Sluss, and her football head husband, NFLer Jake Funk, touched down in Miami to host a unique wedding reception for 120 guests on Saturday, July 13th.
I hope their wedding hashtag was Funkensluss.
It was not.
The event was well attended by some of Funk's fellow football heads, as well as some of Sluss's Bachelor Nation All-Stars, including 2 crowns and 1 ring winner among Victoria Fuller, Andy Dorfman, Tayshia Adams, Amanda Stanton, Ari Lyondike, and Ari Lyondike Jr.'s second choice for wife, the Lauren Lyondike.
Funkensluss will soon be headed back to Detroit as Funk has to get his football head on in preparation for the upcoming NFL season with the Lions. Funk's 6th team since he became a football head back in 2021 with the LA Rams. Congrats to Funkensluss. I like to see Funkensluss where they're going to go, where they're going to end up.
Me too.
I'm curious to watch Funk's career, though. I will say that. I don't know if he's young still.
Is he getting playing time?
Kind of. Like... For the Lions, maybe he'll get more than he has in the past. I'm not sure. But once he's out of the NFL, I think it's the Sluss of Funkensluss that's like supporting that family. Mm-hmm. He makes a good salary.
Maybe they
but
can do like
superstar.
couples content.
Yeah, maybe.
She can get him into her cooking videos.
Yeah, and he can throw footballs at her.
How many cookies are there, Funk? There's 4. No, there's 5.
Yeah. How many
screams
cookies
at him.
do you see, Funk? Well, there's
How
clearly
many
4 on that.
concussions,
There are
Funk?
5. Look
There's
again.
4 cookies.
A deep cut.
Sorry, this is a minutia.
If you know, you know.
Deep cut.
And finally, in Bachelor Nation news, BIP Season 9 survivor Kat Izzo shook the stinging sand out of her sandals this week to hard launch her new relationship. The Paradise villain took to Instagram on Tuesday to post a carousel of pics with her new boyfriend, official boyfriend, I should say, Zach Cooper, alongside a caption that read, quote, "Just as surprised as you are, sideways smiling face, ASCII art."
Season 20 Bachelorette, the Charity Lawson, replied, "I approve times 1,000. Welcome to the Looney Tune fam at ZACCOPPER, Zach Copper." And fellow BIP Season 9 survivor Kylie Russell added, "Love every part of this for you." 3 crying emojis in a row.
Little is known about the origins of Izzo's relationship with Zach Cooper or about Cooper himself, other than he appears to be an amateur surfer from San Diego, at least by the looks of his Instagram, which I gave a thorough scrubbing. He does have civilian status, and he does have 3,255 followers on his public Instagram account. I encourage you to check it out. It's an interesting perusal. Welcome to the family, Mr. Cooper.
She has a type. Men of the ocean.
Ah, yeah, that's true. But that's it. That
Welcome
wraps up
to the Looney Tunes.
all of the news for this week. Let's move on now to the top 5
The Parasocial play of the week. Lots of great plays this week. In our number 5 spot, Lion Day Country, listen up. Let's go. The newly freed Ultimate Viking Clayton Echard himself made a parasocial mating call via Instagram stories this week. He poses in a shirtless picture with one single gold chain, with his hand semi-covering his face, and he says in text, "I seem to have come down with a terrible case of the man cold, IFI. If only I had a beautiful Scottsdale queen to come to my aid and feed me chicken soup." Who's going to answer this call?
This man don't learn no lessons.
Right?
I mean,
I'm like...
this seems like dangerous territory, dude. You just got out of that lawsuit.
I just feel like I would meet people maybe a different way who don't have a parasocial relationship with you, maybe.
Yes, that's correct.
I'm nervous.
He's just throwing it out there in the world. I mean,
he's had 2 people target him.
Good luck. Good luck to the Ultimate Viking.
Held on real hard.
Our number 4 parasocial play this week comes from Night 1 Splits player Brett Harris, who made an incredible Instagram reel. In this video, he responds to the caption, quote, "Sir, you look like the man version of Shrek." I mean that as a compliment. He then shows his face over the face of the human version of Shrek and does some eyebrow play to suggest he might agree with this comparison, all to the Smash Mouth song All-Star, which of course was in the Shrek movie. 617K views, 38.4K likes. Love to see that.
Those numbers. I mean, that I think helps explain his gain this week, even though he wasn't even in the document.
I agree. I totally agree. And it's like, you see this shit. This is like what, I won't say enrages me. It just makes me sad about the state of the kind of the understanding by producers of which players are going to pop off during the season. If you would have had this guy all the way through to like, just keep him to a mid-season floor or even up to hometowns if you want, it would have been gold for the franchise.
Top
because
6.
There would have been so much social media around it, and it would have been trending, and then you get more people to watch the show, because who the hell is this guy doing splits on his Instagram and comparing himself to Shrek?
Yep, I agree.
We can only do so much from
our number 3 top parasocial play this week: painter, ice cream lover, nude forest cuddler, feral kiss player, ferocious love seeker, and our current crown, Jenn Tran, made an iconic TikTok this week about dating 25 men at the same time. Under the chyron, me trying to date 25 men all at once, she lip syncs to the sound, "How hard can it be? Boys do it." 53.2K likes for this post, 449.7K views.
Yeah, she's good. She's a very good bachelorette. She's got all the skills. She's a 5-tool player.
She does. And she's prolific. She's putting out new TikToks like every day.
I know that she, at least in the show, is like, it's very important to me to be a PA and blah blah blah. It's like, she ain't gonna be a PA. She ain't gonna do that.
Unfortunately, I agree with your dark prediction.
This isn't a dark prediction. She's got a giant career as an influencer coming right up. I don't think that PA school is ever going to happen. Maybe she'll go to it and finish it, but then she's going to be doing like nurse content and shit, just making truckloads of money.
I think she will be doing medical content. Yeah. I agree.
Moving on. Our second place parasocial play of the week was that young Noah Erb. He made a stunning and timely reel in which he references the book he was given by Bennett Andrew Jordan on The Bachelorette season 16. Then he shows OAE, that's old Aaron Erb, the 7-second older twin brother of young Noah Erb, giving a book to Devin. But for each video, he placed an image of his fiancée, Abigail Herringer's book, The Deaf Girl, on top of each of the books in question. This is an incredible play in its timing, execution, 4TRRness, supporting his ring winner paramour, and it capitalizes on the huge reach of Bookgate, which we now know is the biggest, most trending thing in Bachelor Nation. Just since we started recording this podcast, I've done some research, and it's all anyone's talking about. 322K views, 9.5K likes. Just a beautiful legacy play. Beautiful.
Oh, it was so good. It was so good. It was so simple. It's just like a little Photoshop of the little book. And I didn't know Abigail Herringer had a book available for pre-sale, which it is now.
What? We've
The
covered it on this
Deaf
very show.
Girl. We did?
Yeah. It's been in Bachelor Nation news.
I mean, look.
Yeah.
I knew it. I didn't remember it.
I see.
And now I will never forget it.
Okay, great.
Now I'm going to order it.
Fantastic.
All of these were strong plays.
If I remember right, wait a minute. You even congratulated her and welcomed her to the ranks of authorship. Like you said, you can know something, you don't have to remember. I understand.
I still congratulate her.
Yeah.
That never changed.
Sure.
I'm very, very excited for it. All of these were strong plays. However, there can only be one winner. Our Parasocial Play of the Week goes to Week 2 player, Jahan Ansari. He made a jaw-dropping reel/TikTok of his Bachelorette, quote, post-game interview. Somehow, he has crafted this desk with a standee The Bachelorette official background, just like an ESPN and those types of sports things would have for a post-game interview. He wears a towel around his neck and he answers a bunch of unseen journalists' questions using a ton of gameplay terminology. This gorgeous offering raked in 15.1K views and 408 likes. It was astonishing. It was astonishing when I saw this.
Yeah. It's I mean, it's just a fantastic play. There's no other way to say it.
Yeah. I see why he was 30 under 30.
Yeah. I mean, look, this is what we want to see. We want to see this show treated like the game that it is. And he's doing it. He's acknowledging this is for us, for anybody who's out there in the pit or beyond, watching this show as the sport that it truly is. He gets it. I don't know if he's going to be long for the game.
It felt like it was made for me.
But he gets it. I agree. Fantastic work, Jahan. Now, we would be remiss if we didn't mention some work of our non-human friends out there within the nation. There were a lot of good parasocial creature plays this week, but it's probably no surprise to you that the winners of this week's parasocial creatures of the week are Pino and Ramen. They seem to be, I think, the winners of this more often than any other creatures. We should be giving them a Lifetime Achievement Award at some point. But this week, the Golden Retrievers joined the Caitlin Bristow as she gave a tour of her home during the decorating process. And both Pino and Ramen are there looking tired, laying on the ground, wishing that it was over already, but also very cute during their time in this Instagram reel. Congratulations to Pino and Ramen on another
why do they
award.
keep winning this award? Because they are professionals. They literally are trained actors.
Just
I don't
like
know
Older
this to
and
be
Herb.
fact, but that's my guess. Oh my God, the rollover. Oh God, so cute, so cute.
Yeah, they're very cute creatures.
Oh.
That wraps up all the parasocial plays from humans and creatures alike. Now it's time to move on to that final portion of our program in which we descend deep into the bottom of the pit to issue forth our screams about how our fandom of our beloved game has taken over our lives, changed who we are fundamentally, allowed us to emerge as new people with encyclopedic knowledge of virtually everything that's ever happened in The Bachelor, moving some more important information out of our minds to make room for that, I'm sure. This is...
Screams from the pit!
Well, we mentioned up top we've been doing watch parties for the show, and I was able to make the first two, and I left it all on the field. I was chatting it up. I was giving out roses, chatting about all sorts of things with the pit. And there was one particular moment that really stood out to me that I thought I would never see the visual representation of, but they tagged Game of Roses on Instagram. I signed a woman's t-shirt that was a picture that she had taken where she had stopped DLP when she ran into him, Dark Lord Palmer. And so this photo is of her and Dark Lord Palmer, and she had me sign it. Of course, I said, praise be Dark Lord Palmer, signed it. And just seeing that image of like me signing anything is just very strange to me. And we did give out some signed books as well. So yeah, I got to work on my signature. And I once signed a face at one of our book events.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
But this one felt, it's a little more permanent on a shirt.
I signed that shirt
exciting.
as well. And that ain't even my scream. But we hope everybody who came out to our watch party this past week had a good time. We'll be doing it again on Monday, or I will be at least.
Thank you so much for coming.
Pacecase is in the north.
Please wear as many tots as you can, and I'll live vicariously through the Parasocial plays about them.
Indeed. My scream this week involves one Ari Lyandike June here. As you may or may not know, for the past 2 recap episodes on video, I've been editing those videos. And a thing that I like to do is anytime Pacecase or I make some historical reference, I will find the clip of that reference and cut it into the show. Somebody hilariously asked me if I was having an AI do that for me. AI ain't there yet. That's all me. So as I'm doing this,
though.
What's that?
Professional era. I was watching the video and there was just like clip, 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 clip. I was like, dang.
That's how it's got to be.
You sleeping?
Nope. What happened to me as I was looking for these clips, I was looking specifically for a clip of Ari Lyandike saying, I love that. And it took a while to find it because the first I love that's in the first 2 episodes of the season are played off face. So I had to wait until episode 3 until he was on a one-on-one date at a winery where I finally got one. He actually clinks a glass and says, I love that. It's perfect. So in getting these clips, I just started rewatching the season. And I'll say that I watched probably 75% of it. Granted, it was on 3 times speed and I was jumping around a little bit, but I was just enamored with it. Looking back at it and being like, how good that season was. To see him and Becca Martinez do their thing on their first date. To see her call him out for liking moms. I mean, Jesus, it's just such a good season. What
are 3 things that excite you? Excitement and pizza.
Yeah, excitement and pizza. To see some of the first times that Lauren Lyandike Lauren Burnham begins to emerge from the shadows as this kind of surprise player that makes it all the way to the end. And I did have to go back and rewatch the breakup with Becca Kufrin, as gut-wrenching as ever. But it did something to me where I was just doing this kind of mechanical function in order to cut these clips, to make our video portion of this show. And I just fell in love with that season all over again. And I'm like, damn, this season was so good. And there are elements of these kind of early rivalries and very strong personalities that are being reflected back in Jenn Tran's current season right now. It had a lot of similar vibes. Getting to see him go on the early meeting of the family date with Crystal Nielsen again, where she's kind of
she's a legend.
She's unbelievable in that date. And she asks him at a certain point, what do you want me to do when we're on these group dates? Should I come up to you and say something or hang back? And he's like, you should do whatever you want to do. He kind of turns it back on her. There's just you can see her working as a player to try and develop strategy. Anyway, it was just, I wound up spending a lot more time just pleasure watching that season than I thought I would ever do in these hunt for the clips. And thank you to Ari Lyandike.
Fantastic scream. Is this the 3rd time you've watched this season now?
I mean, probably way more than that. Let's be real. But those are our screams.
The scream gets deeper and deeper the more facts you learn.
I mean, I think the depth to which I'm in the pit at this point, it doesn't surprise me anymore because I've fully embraced it. I don't know when that was. Maybe around our 2nd or 3rd year of doing this podcast, I was like, whatever, this is just who I am now. But
you have built out your extra bedroom to be fully Bachelor themed. The YouTube viewers will notice.
Yeah, I mean, basically. But I think there's something in it when you kind of rekindle the joy in a season that you first watched many years ago, and you're like, oh yeah, there's a piece of it that you're like, I remember why I love this so much. It's that little moment, or it's how this player says something, or, you know, whatever. Chelsea Roy getting that Fimp Rose, and then Becca Martinez calling him out for liking moms is just like it's just like an iconic moment from that season that, like, with time it kind of bleeds off because it wasn't one of the big important moments that kind of like turned the narrative of the season or anything. But you're like, oh my God, she was such a good player to just read his ass cold. And he's like, well, I do like moms. It's unbelievable. Anyway, thank you to Mr.
I mean,
Lionel.
I think Ari licking the bowling ball will be on my deathbed montage.
Yeah, I watched that as well. And the pro wrestling, where they bring out Kenny King to wrestle him, and he's wearing the little bandit mask. There's just so much. At any rate.
Oh, the kissing bandit. Yes.
Kissing bandit. There's one more scream that we have to play. Now, if you have listened to this program with any regularity, you know that we don't just scream. There's a lot of people in the pit, and we're all screaming. And if you want to submit your scream, all you have to do is go to patreon.com/Game of Roses. Join us in the bottom of the pit. You will get access to the Game of Roses Discord. There, you will find a channel called Submit Your Screams. To do that, you just record a 1 minute or shorter audio scream, upload it into that channel. Our social media manager, Anya, goes through them all and delivers the best screams to us right here. Today, we have one that comes to us from a user named Abogado1025. Are you ready, Pacecase?
I think that means lawyer. Yes.
I don't know what it means. Here we go.
Hey, Pacecase and Clues. Longtime fellow pit dweller here. Let me tell you, the pit provided to me this weekend. I have 2 separate, unrelated pieces of Peak Nation gossip. I visited a few friends in the Chicago Clout this weekend. One of my friends was telling me all about her journey freezing her eggs. Turns out that the nurse who is treating her is none other than Whitney Bischoff Angel, the ring winner of Crystal's season. My friend is not in the pits. She did not recognize Whitney, but she found out that her nurse was a famous player because the clinic sent my friend a list of resources, which exclusively included a copy of the People magazine interview with Whitney. Later on, another friend's boyfriend told me about how when he was in college, he de-escalated a fight with none other than Colton Underwood. Apparently, Colton was mad about his friend talking to a girl at a college bar. The argument almost escalated to physical violence. My friend's boyfriend stepped in, and he talked Colton down. Everything was fine. They all left peacefully. All is well. If that weren't enough, a friend of this same boyfriend mentioned that he grew up down the street with and went to grade school with also Colton Underwood. But not in Colorado, like it said during his time in game, but in good old Illinois. I think I also succeeded in pulling this Colton childhood acquaintance into the pit with me, but only time will tell. Praise be Dark Lord Palmer.
The twist, the roller coaster of emotions on this one.
There's a lot in that scream, a lot of kind of
been
6 degrees of separation type stuff. But that Whitney Bischoff thing that the hospital sends out in the packet of resources, the People magazine interview with her is insane. I absolutely love that because it's like the hospital recognizes that this is kind of a feather in the cap of that hospital, that we've got a ring winner from season 19 of The Bachelor working for us.
I guess it's like they're famous not for a medical related thing.
Yeah.
I literally, I mean, this is a scream in itself. I just chastised myself for a minute when I was like, oh, I froze my eggs and I didn't even think about doing this.
Going to Bischoff.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Maybe I should
This is,
freeze
I would
more.
say, depending on how you want to look at it, low level or high level scream. I'll call it an entry level scream. When you start to recognize that people in your life, or potentially you yourself, are somehow connected to The Bachelor through a couple of degrees of separation. You start recognizing, kind of the web of the pit that extends through all of humanity. Every social circumstance, every situation you find yourself in, someone there is connected to our beloved game in some way. And once you start
It's
recognizing...
like how all the trees are connected with their roots underground.
Yeah, something
You
like
don't
that.
know it.
And once you start recognizing your connection to these people, how you fit into the web, then you truly are in the pit. Now what needs to happen is the web has to affect your life in some way. One of these people have to come into your life. You have to go seek out a personal trainer. And it winds up being Blake Ellerby, who sells you hand weights out of his backyard during the pandemic. That's what happened to me once.
Yes.
Something
I
like
went
that
to a
needs be.
dentist and ended up getting a tooth filled by the guy who dressed as Cupcake.
Oh, wow.
I don't remember what season that was, but he came in on a Grandy cupcake like device. And I had no idea. But now I'm like, I should have looked at the material they sent out. I wonder if they included that in the dental packet.
They might have. They very well might have. He's got a big framed picture of it, just that you're forced to stare into as you're getting your teeth drilled.
Yeah, probably the picture of the cupcake entrance I wouldn't do, but
yeah,
maybe just a portrait, and then you say however well they did.
Well, thank you once again for your scream, and thank you everyone for joining us for This Week in Bachelor Nation. We're going to be back again on Monday with a Digging Deeper, so you can get full access to that at our Patreon, patreon.com/Game of Roses. And we will be back next week with a recap and everything else. We hope to see you then.
Praise be Dark Lord Palmer.
Please rate this podcast. Please review this podcast. Please get a friend to listen to us. And then please rate this podcast. Please review this podcast. Please get a friend to listen to us. And then please rate this podcast. Please review this podcast. Please get a friend to listen to us. And then